The majority of the students is slowly making their way over, right? So in the meantime, we just watch a couple of short video clips that is produced about our program previously, right? You can maximize.
Did you know that Singapore is the largest and busiest transshipment port in the world? Or that Singapore is ranked first for efficient healthcare? Although they may seem very different, both involve complex systems of systems whose success depends on how they are managed. This is where the methodical approach of industrial and systems engineering comes in. First, we analyze the problem through data analysis and modeling. Then, we innovate solutions that integrate seamlessly. Third, we improve solutions through optimization techniques. And finally, we arrive at good decisions that optimally balances the gains and risks based on rigorous decision analysis.
We have been training engineers in Singapore since 1969. We focus on combining a business mindset, modern management approaches, and multiple analytic skills to help organizations devise and implement ways to do things better. Our curriculum gives students great choice, breadth, and flexibility in charting their learning journey. For example, students who wish to broaden their knowledge and skills in a complementary area can pursue a second major or even 2 minors across the different faculties and schools at NUS.
As an IC student, you have access to a wide range of internship opportunities, from finance to IT to engineering. Internships provide opportunities to learn skills that are impossible to learn in a classroom setting. In my internship with Shopee, I got to pick up important soft skills like project and stakeholder management.
Going on exchange pushes you out of your comfort zone and broadens your perspective. ISE students have a wide range of good schools to choose from around the world. In my case, I was fortunate to secure an exchange at Georgia Tech, which has the best industrial engineering program in the US.
As an IEC student, you will undertake a real-world consulting project, providing you with genuine industrial experience and greatly enhancing your employability. This will build analytical, computing, and managerial skills that can be applied across multiple industries, including business and finance, digital technology, government and services, manufacturing, and supply chain and logistics.
Did you know that Apple CEO Tim Cook is an industrial engineer by training? As we enter into Industry 4.0 and the digital economy, companies need individuals with ISE skill sets to efficiently adopt and apply the proliferation of new technologies.
Are you ready to make the world better?
Very good afternoon. Thank you once again for taking the time of this Saturday afternoon to attend our this open day, CDE open day. And now is the program sharing, the industrial and systems engineering. Okay, my name is Adam. I'm the deputy head for the outreach. I'm a professor in our Department of Industrial Systems Engineering and Management. Okay, so once again, a warm welcome to you guys. And more importantly, congratulations to you guys for being offered our this premium Industrial Systems Engineering Bachelor of Engineering program. Okay, so good job, well done. You have worked hard in your studies, okay, to be able to come to be offered, and we invite you to join our program. And I do see some of the parents here, so the papa and the mama, also good job, right? So you all have, done a good job in producing such a good, children and students, okay? Right, so of course, happy Mother's Day in advance, okay? Right, so let's start with the today's program and sharing. Right, so this is the agenda. We are kind of like a little bit tardy, but never mind. I think we do have plenty of time to be comfortable to share a few of our presentations with you. Okay, so after I finish talking, right, I will introduce our this department leadership, okay, to give you guys an overview about this ISE BEng program and our this ISM department. Okay, right? And then thereafter, we will have students from our IC Student Club to do a sharing about student life and some of the student activities that you can look forward to when you join us as the freshmen. Okay? And then we also invited some of the senior students, okay, to give you all a sharing about their project, right? This system design project that they have worked very hard at for the past 2 semesters, and finally, you know, they are successfully completed the projects. These projects, they work in collaboration with companies with very good outcomes. Okay, so we are, you know, very thankful for these senior students to join us, because almost everybody else in their cohort has gone traveling and their grad trip. Okay, but they sacrificed their time to join us this afternoon. Right, so after the presentations, we will have a short time for you guys. If you have any burning questions that you want to follow up with us, we have a short Q&A. Okay, so if you are shy to kind of like tell us your concerns or questions directly, we have prepared a tea reception just outside. I know it's very hot today, okay, but then there will be a tea reception with some food, okay, for us to get to know you better. So take the chance to network or, you know, talk to the professors, our staff, our students over there. Right? So, okay, I'm just the opening act. Okay, so now for the first agenda, right, I would like to invite our head of department, okay, the lady that you have saw just now in the short YouTube video clip, Professor Ng Su Hui, okay, to give us a welcome address and introduction. Prof. Ng, please.
Okay, thanks Adam. So following Adam, I would also like to first congratulate all of you for making it or getting accepted into NUS and also accepted to our program. So great achievement, and I'm sure you worked really hard. So I think first I'd like to congratulate you. So my name is Su Hui. I'm currently the head of the Department of Industrial Systems Engineering and Management, and I will give a brief welcome overview of the department in the next few minutes. So before I do that, I'd like a quick question to all of you, ask a quick question to all of you. How many of you heard of or know what ISE is before open house this year? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3. Are you our student? Oh, okay. Okay, so great. Most of you probably didn't hear about what ISE is about because, again, we're not the conventional, many of you came from the A-level path. You're not the conventional, physics, chemistry, econ, math subjects. But today, I think we will tell you a little bit more about what ISE is about. And then, hopefully you'll learn a lot more about what you will learn and how you can, move on to contribute to society if you actually embark on this program. Next question. How old do you think the department is? Any guesses? Current ISE students cannot answer. Or staff. Any guesses? 30 years? 3 years? 3 years? 10 years? 20? Okay, a hint is it's too low. Any higher? Okay, we just celebrated our 50th anniversary last year, which makes us 51 years already as a department in NUS. So we are one of the oldest departments in engineering. So we started off as a small department in 1972, but we have grown over the past 50 years into a full-fledged research-intensive university with deep focus in, both our research and academic programs. So let me play a little video to show you the evolution of the department and how the department, the programs, and the students evolved and helped Singapore develop in the past 50 years.
Singapore's economy grew rapidly in the 1960s. Large-scale infrastructure was built to support this growth. New expertise was needed to design and manage these infrastructure systems, such as the land transport and electricity systems. In response, the then University of Singapore launched a Master of Science program in Systems Engineering in 1968, the first engineering MSc program in Singapore. The success of the MSc program led to the establishment of the Industrial and Systems Engineering Department, starting with 4 faculty members.
In the 1970s and 80s, when Singapore's economy was focused on manufacturing, ISE tools were very important. The original MSc in System Engineering, later renamed as MSc in Industrial Engineering in 1976, proved to be popular for graduates with a bachelor's degree in engineering as well as science. I was a mechanical engineer in power plant maintenance, but with system engineering training from ISE, I was redeployed for the challenging energy market business. During my career in technical and business roles, I found my ISE training to be highly effective, especially in adapting innovative approaches to achieve optimal outcomes. I'm confident that all our ISE alumni who have benefited from their MSc course will bring value to their workplace, business sector, and engineering profession.
The Masters of Science in Industrial Engineering was already a premier graduate program during my time as a student in 1983 to 1985. I vividly remember taking a tough statistical analysis module taught by a fantastic professor who became a great friend. While with Jurong Town Corporation or JTC, I regularly hosted students in the program on Industrial Visits to One North, which I oversaw for 10 years. ISE has enriched my life in many ways, including in my earlier career in the military and later in the public and private sectors.
Singapore in the 1990s emerged as a vibrant commercial, shipping and aviation hub. This led to a strong demand for advanced ISE tools to further improve the country's economic competitiveness. Against this backdrop, the department grew rapidly in research profile and capability, and in the process grew many PhD graduates in areas such as logistics, supply chain, quality, and energy. I found the academic training from ISE has laid a unique and solid foundation for me to embark on the advanced analytic journey and participate in various supply chain digital transformation efforts throughout my career.
The department launched a new ISE bachelor's degree program in 2001, which produced highly sought-after graduates working in diverse sectors such as manufacturing, supply chain, oil and gas, finance, consulting, and public service. With that, ISE became a full-fledged academic department offering a comprehensive range of degree programs. The academic training from ISE is unique and, in a sense, a confluence of various subject matters: statistics, computing, systems thinking, management, optimization, and the list goes on. The very complementary mix of subject matters is one that has certainly helped shape the way I understand and approach problem solving in my line of work.
Over the years, the ISE department has evolved and spearheaded many impactful research initiatives, such as in the area of quality engineering, as well as sustainability. In fact, it has initiated 2 centers of excellence, namely Future Container Ports and Logistics in 2018. And it has also started new programs like Masters of Science in Supply Chain, Technology Management, and Maritime Technology.
We're extremely proud that our 7,000 strong alumni have, in the past 50 years, contributed to the growth of key sectors in supply chain and logistics, manufacturing, technology, business and finance, and the public sector. Over the years, the department has remained relevant, vibrant, and resilient, aiding Singapore's progress from third to first world. We'll continue to embark on new initiatives responding to emerging areas of the future, such as digitalization, automation, resilience of supply chain, and the green economy. We're well positioned to face new challenges and harness new opportunities as we continue our journey ahead.
To all staff of ISEM department, I would like to say happy anniversary. All the faculty members, administrative staff, students, alumni, we have been together for a long time and there will be more good days ahead. Again, happy anniversary.
Happy 50th anniversary to ISEM.
To all our friends in the Department of Industrial, System, Engineering and Management, congratulations and have a happy 50th anniversary.
Happy 50th anniversary, ISE.
Here's wishing a happy 50th to ISE.
Wishing ISE happy 50 years and many, many successful years ahead.
Reflecting back on the past 50 years of the department, I'd like to thank all members of ISEM, past and present, who have worked hard to build and develop the department. Thank you, and a happy 50th anniversary to ISEM.
So as you can see, the department has been critical in developing, helping Singapore develop from a third to first world in the areas of systems engineering and industrial engineering. Okay, so this is just a quick overview of what the department looks like today. So we have close to 7,000 strong alumni already today since we started in 1972. Currently, we have in the department over 1,100 students, both at the undergraduate and also at the graduate level, with 25 faculty members and 10 staff. The clicker is here. Right. So as you can see, we evolved from a small teaching department all the way to a full-fledged department. Relevant in the fast-changing world. We have also initiated new initiatives and digitalization, automation, resilience, and green economy. And we have introduced several new specializations in the undergraduate program, the BEng program also, which Dr. Han will elaborate later on. One exciting one is in sustainability. Okay, one is in sustainability. And to keep updated and relevant, we have very close partnerships and collaborations with industry. And later on, our senior students will share a little bit about the SDP. Every one of you will have an opportunity to work very closely with industry, in addition to the academic courses that you have. So this is just some of the classes that you will encounter in our program. So again, overview, we have 9 comprehensive programs, all the way, as you can see now, from the undergraduate all the way to the graduate PhD program. And this is some of the companies where our students have, or alumni are currently working at. And some of the job titles, so you can see again, span across all sectors of the Singapore economy, from transportation, logistics, to manufacturing, to business and finance, to the tech sector. So the skills that you learn in this program is very flexible and transferable to any sector. We're not focused in any particular one, so that also makes us pretty resilient to any shocks in the market or in the economy. So as I mentioned, we evolved into a research-intensive university over the last 50 years. In fact, we have very strong research-focused faculty members now, focused in areas of like optimization, data science, analytics, machine learning, energy sustainability, supply chain and logistics, with many award-winning, highly cited professors, top publications, a lot of research funding from both the public sector, the government, and also from industry. And then we have 2 research centers of excellence, one in next generation ports, and the other is in next generation logistics. So I look forward to welcoming all of you to the ISE family. And now I shall pass it back to Adam, or should I pass it on to Chin Hon, who will tell you and elaborate a lot more about our BEng ISE program.
Okay, thanks Prof. Ng for the sharing about our program, and I guess I definitely echo Prof. Ng and also, in fact, both Prof. Ng, right, Adam and Su Hui, about you guys making it into the program. We are very excited that you are here to join us, and we do hope that together we are going to be able to shape your future. Okay, so that's me, Chin Hon. I'm in charge of the undergraduate program, and so what I hope to do today is just to give you a broad overview regarding our curriculum, and I guess my role is to answer any questions that you may have. Okay, so feel free to ask us after our presentation or later on over the refreshments. Okay, so quick overview. So apparently a lot of you have not heard of what Industrial and Systems Engineering is, but I'm still glad that you have decided to choose us. And I guess in a nutshell, we are about solving problems, we are about improving systems, right? Give me a minute, let me just bring up my pointer. Improving systems over there. And basically what we are training our students, our industrial and systems engineers to be, is to have a set of tools, a set of skills that will allow you to help companies solve their problems, to improve their operations and so on. So that's the saying, right? To a hammer, all problems are anew, because a hammer views everything as anew, right? But that's not how you're going to solve problems in the real world. Okay, you got to use the right tool to solve the right problem. For example, if I have a screw over there, can I use a butter knife to remove that screw? I could, right? It's just that it's probably going to take a lot more effort. The outcome is not going to be as good as well in terms of, let's say, assembling things over there. Okay, and so you got to have the right tools to tackle the right problem. And that's why we're going to train our students to have a wide skill set. So we are looking at things like data analytics, simulation, optimization, and ultimately what it does is that it drives decisions. And for you to be able to do that, you need to have a good foundation. So that's where your math, your programming comes in. So things like your linear algebra, your calculus, your statistics, and so on. Okay, so I'll just run through this quickly, and I assume that later on in the Q&A, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to elaborate on them. So let me just give some quick examples. So this will be an example of, let's say, data analytics. So this, for this project, our students were attached to Shopee. So basically what they wanted to do was to basically demand the to predict the forecast, to forecast the demand going forward over there, right? So basically what they did was they look at the historical demand data, and based on that, they make use of their machine learning, various machine learning models, and they're able to kind of predict what the future demand is going to be. Okay, and so companies need this so that they know how to make their inventory type of decisions over there. So the group did pretty well. They were able to reduce the forecast error by about 70% across 20 of those categories over there. Okay, so as mentioned, this is just a quick illustration. So this next example over here, it's another group that was assigned to Infineon. Okay, so this is a manufacturing facility over there. So what this group did was essentially they built a simulation of that factory floor. Okay, and why do we do that? We do that because once you have a simulation of that manufacturing facility, then you will be able to help managers answer what-if questions. If my demand was to increase, where will my bottleneck be? If I was to buy one more forklift, how much improvement is that going to be? Okay, so before the management wants to make a decision, Okay, I don't want to invest all the capital in and then realize that, hey, actually this is not going to yield that much benefit over there. Okay, so that's where the benefit of a simulation comes in. Okay, this third example over here. So for this group, they were attached to the Ministry of Home Affairs, or more specifically, the Singapore Police Force. So this one, they were looking at the planning of major events. So think about, let's say, the National Day Parade. So what happens is that there are various, by the way, these are basically just fake data. So the real critical points are not over here. Even we don't know where the critical points are, okay? They just gave us some points to play around, but we came up with the system for them, that's all. Okay, just a disclaimer. But essentially what happens is that there are various critical points that the Singapore Police Force needs to cover. But at the same time, they have limited resources. Correct? I don't have an infinite number of manpower. I don't have an infinite number of ammunition, of weapons to arm my police force over there. So I need to figure out what is going to be the best allocation that will help me cover these points as optimally as possible. Okay, this essentially is an optimization problem. So the typical approach is that basically we make use of mathematical equations, you model this problem, and once the problem is a set of mathematical equations, you can bring in your calculus, you can bring your linear algebra. In the simplest form, you find your dy dx, right? Set it to be 0. That's the stationary point. Okay, so this is going to be optimization, and basically it's going to help managers in terms of resource deployment, in terms of resource management over there. Okay, so I hope I've given a quick overview or a quick sampler as to some of the tools that we are going to be training our students. Okay, and so with that, I think Prof. Ng has already shared with us that our graduates do work across a variety of industries. I did some extra homework, since my boss is here, I got to say, right? I did some extra homework. I pulled out the graduates who graduated last year, who just graduated. Last year, 2002, right? I went through their LinkedIn profile, and so these are basically only from those that graduated last year over there. Okay, but year after year, the trend is fairly similar. You get people in the government, in the service sector over here. You get people who are going to be working in the manufacturing context over here. Finance continues to be attractive to our students, so you see quite a few of our students going into the finance industry. Consulting is another one that we do see many students express interest in, Boston Consulting Group and also Accenture, if you're not familiar with the icons over there. Tech industry, we see quite a few of our students going into the tech industry as well. I think Shopee has been hiring quite aggressively the past few years. I'm not sure about the last year though. Okay, but so these are basically where our graduates who graduated in 2002 went to over there. Okay, a quick sampler. As mentioned, the LinkedIn profiles are on our website. You can quickly just go and check them out. Okay, I like to think that if you have applied to our program, you do know that the career prospects are not that bad, right? Maybe that's one reason why you apply to us. But then, year after year, our graduates do command a salary that is significantly above the national median in terms of the graduates over there. Okay, but I think one thing that I want to highlight, which is that it is not just in terms of the median salary that we report over here, but if you were to look at the employment rate, so this is where you want to remember 2019 and 2020, okay? And so 2020, the employment rate for graduates was significantly hit, okay? Simply because of COVID-19 over there. But if you were to look at our statistics, our graduates continue to find full-time employment over there. So this is something that we're very happy about, okay? And if you ask me why, it is simply because our students have a very useful set of skills that can apply across a wide variety of industries over there. Okay, and so to us, that's important. I think it is not just the amount that you receive, but at the same time, it is also that security that you have a lot of options over there. And the third thing to remember that I think it's not emphasized enough is that with options, you get to choose what you enjoy to do. I like to think that I come here because I like this work over here. Once again, my boss is there, right? I got to say that. But at the same time, if you were to take the MRT in the morning, if you look at the sad faces, right? And you go that is not going to be an extremely productive employee in the long run over there. Okay, I sincerely believe that if you want to do well in your career, you want to find one that you have a passion in and that you can work in. Okay, and so that's why I'm happy to see that our graduates are not all just running into one particular sector, but they are spread out. I like to believe that, they are going for their passion and not just where the money is over there. Okay, so personally, I think that is a very important point. Okay, and so with that, let's move on to what I'm supposed to talk about, right? The curriculum. So if you were to look at our CDE curriculum, so this is what it's going to look like. So essentially, you're going to have to cover a total of 35 modules, or each module is about 4 units, okay? So that's about 160 units over there. And it's going to be divided in this way, where 15 modules are under the common curriculum, 15 modules are under the major requirements, and 10 modules are going to be unrestricted electives. So for the common curriculum, all NUS students will have to satisfy 6 modules over there. Okay, you have to satisfy 2 modules under the generalist core, 2 modules under the 21st century, and 2 modules under community over there. So all NUS students will have, so to qualify as an NUS student, you got to clear these 6 modules over there. Okay, the next thing over here is that then for a CDE common, under the CDE common curriculum, you will need to clear another 9 modules. That's where we have systems thinking, and artificial intelligence, makerspace, sustainable future, creating narratives, project management, systems design, design thinking, and this systems design project that we talk about. Okay, I see some of you counting, and you realize that there's only 8 of them there, right? And this SDP, it's bigger because this is actually 8 units over there. Okay, and so that's why collectively it forms 9 over there. Okay, and so the system design project is actually an important component of our program, where essentially our students will form a group and be assigned to a company to tackle a problem at the company. So for example, the group that was assigned to Shopee, basically they were saying that, hey, we had a problem in terms of our inventory management. We don't know how much to order and so on. So the resolution was, let's look at the historical demand data, let's come up with a prediction model. Okay, and so from there we can resolve that issue. Okay, the next one, the next 15 modules, that's going to be your major requirements. So these are the ones you need to clear to qualify as a industrial and systems engineering graduate. So over here, we have our foundational courses over here. Like I say, you can't run away from it. Okay, you need to know calculus, you need to know linear algebra, you need to know probability and statistics, you need to know some programming, data structure, and so on. Okay, so we are not the math department, we are not the computer science, but at the same time, you need to have some foundation before you are able to apply the tools. Building on that foundation, that is where you are going to have your operations research, where you learn how to build models, how to build optimization models, how to convert a real-world problem into a series of mathematical equations. You have your statistics and engineering applications, where you learn how to do your regression, your design of experiments, and so on. And at the same time, there's also the simulation module as well. One thing worth noting is that there is going to be 2 technical electives over here. So what happens is that these are the compulsory modules that all our students will have to take. And then there's going to be a list of level 3,000, 4,000 modules where you would select 2 of them. Okay, and so you need to do at least 2 of these 3,000 or 4,000 level modules to qualify as a industrial and systems engineering student over there. Okay, there's industrial attachment and also a professionalism module over there. So that collectively will be the modules that are required by an ISE graduate. The last one over here, the remaining 10 modules, we refer to them as unrestricted electives. And so for this, what you want to think about is, do you want to go deep in the discipline or do you want to go broad over there? Okay, and you have that flexibility to do that. So for people who want to go broad, you might think about doing a second major or doing another minor. Or people who want to go deep, you can think about doing an area of specialization within our discipline. So let me give you some examples. So for example, somebody who, let's say, aspires to be a data scientist, then what they would do is that on top of their ISE program, they may choose to do a specialization in supply chain analytics and also analytics in decision intelligence. Alternatively, you could be somebody who wants to, let's say, run a manufacturing facility. You want to be an operations manager over there. Under such situation, you may want to complement your ISE degree with, let's say, a specialization in supply chain analytics and also a minor in management. So that will be offered by the business school. Alternatively, we could have somebody, like I say, right, finance relatively appealing to our students over there. Then what you would want to do is that you may want to complement your degree with, let's say, a minor in economics and also a minor in quantitative finance. So I believe that this is on our website, probably, and so you can get it. Or if you can't find it, just email us. I'll be happy to send it to you as well. Okay, and so I think the idea over here is that we have a program, but there's going to be a certain amount of flexibility that allows you to decide how you want to craft your program to best suit your aspirations over there. So this is where I should probably highlight as well. So if you talk about the specialization, so the specializations are all offered by our department. If you talk about the second major and the minors over there, the second majors and minors in NUS, they are either open or restricted. So open basically means that all students can apply. Basically, if you want to do it, you would be able to do it. Restricted basically means that it will be subjected to approval by the host department over there. Okay, so for example, quantitative finance, it's under the math department. Economics is under FASS, I believe. And so these two minors are actually open minors. Okay, which basically means that so long as you want to do it, just apply for it, you can do it. Okay, but if you were to look at, let's say, a second major in computer science, this is going to be a restricted second major, which means that you can apply for it, but it is going to be dependent on approval by the computer science department over there. Okay, so, but these information are all available on the NUS website. You can just check out special programs, minors or second major. They list down which are the open ones and which are the restricted ones. Okay, but a lot of them are open, so feel free to mix and match over there. Okay, something I should highlight to you as well, because we did a lot of hard work to, convince the university that one of our modules, an introduction module to industrial and systems engineering, is actually going to be able to satisfy the university's requirement of data literacy over there. Okay, basically we went to the university and said that, hey, all industrial engineers are going to be well-versed in data. Okay, look through our curriculum. We got the approval from them to say that our introductory module meets the requirements of this data literacy. And so what it means is that there's no two-way. You still got to do your 35 modules. But what it means is that now you don't have to do a data literacy module, but for your unrestricted electives, you actually have 11 rather than 10 modules to choose from. Okay, so basically what we did was we free up one more module that allows you to just choose whatever you want, so that it makes it easier for you to combine your ISE degree with, let's say, a minor or, let's say, a second major over there. Okay, so for the minors and the second major, there's a whole list of them. So feel free to just check out the NUS website. I will just quickly talk about the area of specializations that are offered by our department. At this point in time, officially, we have two. One in supply chain analytics, the other which is analytics and decision intelligence over there. Okay, we are in the works. We are in the final stages of getting approval from MOE for the sustainability analytics over there. Okay, and so we are fairly confident that we should be offering this relatively soon. One thing I wish to highlight over here, which is that our Deputy Prime Minister, Heng Swee Keat, when he was talking about the future of work, there were actually three things that he has highlighted: green transition, digitization, and also the resilience of supply chain resilience over there. Okay, and if you were to look at our AOS, that is essentially what we are doing as well. Okay, basically we are looking at supply chains, we are looking at machine learning, and also how it helps in decision making. And also we are looking at sustainability over there. Okay, so one thing I wish to highlight is that the good job prospects that you see over there, it doesn't happen by chance. It was not just that we are industrial engineering, we are doing our curriculum, the market has moved in this direction, and the tide has turned in our side. That was not what has happened. What has happened is that our department has always actively been looking at what is it that is required for our students to be getting good jobs. What is it that the market requires from our graduates? And there is always a consistent effort to make sure that we are training to meet the market demands over there. Okay, so that's one point that I wish to highlight as well. And since our students are here, I just need to say that as well. Okay, we are always looking at what to do, because it's a win-win situation, right? When our students go out and get good jobs, that's where it's reflected in the numbers. And that's where basically we're going to get good students. And this virtuous cycle continues over there. Okay, so like all things, I think once you find a win-win situation, that is going to work very well. Okay, last point over there, I guess my final sales pitch. Why do industrial and systems engineering, and why do it at NUS over there? We've highlighted our history, that we've been training engineers since 1969 over there. And with our history, what we've done over the years is that we've built up a lot of connections with partner universities and also with the industry. And why that is important is because it is going to affect your experience when you study with us over there. So I've already talked about the academics, the topics that we cover and so on. But there are two other dimensions I want to talk about. The study abroad experience and also the industry exposure over there. So for the industry exposure, as we have talked about the system design project, right? These projects with the companies don't just happen. Okay, these happen because our colleagues continuously make the effort to establish that connection to keep these projects going forward. At the same time, NUS, because of its brand name, is able to have a lot more companies that want to work with us over there. Okay, and so perhaps, if you are, to the prospective students, that may not be that obvious to you. But very often, a lot of things depends on reputation, depends on the connections over there. Because that is where essentially the first step opens. And then people start to collaborate and so on. Okay, and so, like it or not, unfortunately, the reputation of NUS does make a difference. And that is how we are able to give the best experience to our students over there. When we talk about study abroad, we have summer and winter school. And so basically during your summer break, during your winter break, you can actually travel overseas to one of our partner universities to complete some modules as well. Okay, and so some of our students may potentially want to graduate in 3.5 years. And so that's what they are going to do over there. Student exchange, this is where you spend either 1 or 2 semesters overseas at a partner university. Once again, for these programs, this is where the NUS brand name comes in. That's where we're going to have a lot of partner universities who want to work with us. So let me give you an illustration. So for our student exchange program, we do have a lot of students going to Georgia Tech, which is actually, as mentioned in the video just now, the top industrial engineering school in the US. And if you ask a lot of people, they would say probably the world as well. Okay, and the reason why we are able to get so many places over there is because many years ago, Georgia Tech was looking at having a summer program in Asia. And because our colleagues had connections with them, so they say, hey, are you want to consider us or not? And so basically we worked out a deal. And so basically because of this summer program, we are able to get a lot more student exchange position at Georgia Tech over there. Okay, and so this is essentially one example where basically the connections that we have built up eventually lead to the type of experiences we are able to give our students over there. Okay, and so with that, in a nutshell, basically, if you ask me, I would say that industrial engineers are going to have a set of analytical, computing, and managerial skills that can be applied across multiple industries. Prof. Goh, you saw him in the video. He was our head of department from when? 1980 to 2000. I think it was 2000. And then he knew that I was giving a talk. So I asked him, how should I describe ISC? This was the acronym he gave me, CIA. Okay, comprehensive. Basically, like I say, to a hammer, all problems are new. Okay, but to an industrial engineer, you want to use the right tool to tackle the right problem over there. And and that's where the innovation comes in, right? You cannot expect somebody who is a one-trick wonder to be innovative, because that's the only trick that they know. Okay, so once you have a broad set of tools, then that's where you're able to innovate and come up with a solution. Agile, I think we've talked about that as well. The world is changing. The market conditions will change over time as well. Okay, but you can see that our graduates are going to be able to adapt to that. So that's where Prof. Ang actually took over the headship from Prof. Go over there. And so Prof. Ang had another set of acronyms. And so I should just share them with you as well. He used AEIOU, adaptable. So we've talked about that, right? Basically, even when the market conditions change, we are happy to see that our graduates are able to adapt. Establish. I think I've mentioned this just now. Okay, like it or not, unfortunately, I think that connections and these things take time to build up. Okay, our program with Georgia Tech has been running for Stephen for what, 15 years maybe? Close to 20 years. Okay, and so these are the things that the connection creates that door. But then after that, once the door is open, then we can continue from there. Okay, and so having that consistency, being in this industry for a long time, that really helps. Okay, innovation, we talk about that, the international exposure as well, that we are able to offer. Opportunities. So this is where I like to believe that to our graduates, the world is your oyster. Okay, like I say, when you're finding a job, it's not just a matter of which one gives you the highest pay. But at the same time, you want to ask yourself, what is it that I really enjoy? Okay, and of course, at the same time, you've got to find the right balance between the two, right? You don't work for free for something that you enjoy, right? But you have the option, okay? And I think that that is very important. And I like to believe that what we are offering is very unique compared to what the other programs out there are. Okay, and with that, I think that I have shared everything that I want to share. Feel free to just check out our website, and I'll be around. Su Hui did say that she'll be back again later on, so we'll be happy to take any questions. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Tan Chin Horn, for the very comprehensive sharing of our program curriculum. Okay, but not to worry, right? Coming on board as an NUS student in our department is not just about studying 24/7. Okay, work-life balance is very important, right? So you would know that NUS has many exciting CCAs. Okay, for those of you who like to explore different activities. But in the department itself, we also have a very vibrant student club presence who, take a lot of the effort to organize a lot of projects and initiatives to enrich the ISC student life, right? So today we have this Phyllis from ISC Club. Okay, bye-bye, you guys. Make a move. Okay, so Phyllis is here from ISC Club to do a sharing about some of their activities and also do a pitch about the up-and-coming freshman orientation activities. Okay, Phyllis, please.
So good afternoon everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you. So my name is Phyllis, and today I'll share with you more about what is ISC Club and what are the events and activities that we plan. So to kick off today's sharing, let me first introduce to you what is ISC Club. So ISC Club is a student-run club in which we provide many opportunities for students to interact with industry partners as well as to hone a lot of skills. For example, leadership skills through organizing of events, and most importantly, to forge new friendships along the way. So for our first event, it will be ISC Day. This event is coupled with Alumni Series. So ISC Day is mainly segregated into two components. First component being on course, on allowing you to understand more about the course and to give you course updates to mainly keep ISC students abreast of the ISC curriculum. The second part, we have invited many ISE students to share about more of their ISE experience. On the other hand, for alumni series-wise, it will be more about inviting past ISE alumni back to give you more sharing on career prospects as well as their experience with the workforce. Especially as an ISE graduate, what can you expect more about the workforce? So next, it will be a welfare pack giveaway. This event is mainly very exciting and everyone will look forward to it, and it will normally be held before major exams like midterms or finals. In this event-wise, we'll be giving our ISE students welfare packs, and this year we also had this bubble tea giveaway. So it's also a spirit booster for many of our ISE students. So this is the next event that we hold, Business Analytics Case Competition, in short BACC. So BACC is one of the larger events that we have in our ISE club, and this event exposes students to analytics and ISE concepts and allows students to improvise what they have learned throughout, for example, the workshop provided, into a real case scenario. So for this event-wise, we will liaise with an external vendor, which is Micron, to host and to execute this event. So next, this is a community involvement project. This will be a more volunteering experience and volunteering opportunity given to all of you, especially during the COVID period-wise, in which we have very little volunteering activities. So during this project, what can you expect is to work as a group for an event. So for this year-wise, we had this beach cleaning activity, and it was very fun to do something meaningful with your friends and also forge new friendship along the way, as this event is also open to students throughout year 1 to year 4. So another event will be night cycling. This event is also an event that many ISE students will look forward to, because not only will you forge new friendships through cycling, you also get to exercise and also to lose weight. So this event-wise, it will be normally from night to morning, in which we will cycle throughout from night to morning, and along the way, we also have breaks. So it's a very good time to bond your friends and also to exercise at the same time. So another event-wise is Career Day. You may wonder what are the different industry opportunities and what are the times in which we'll come in touch with the industry partners. Well, this is an event that you can look forward to. During Career Day-wise, we will invite many industry partners and industry professionals to share with you more about what are they doing in their field. And this event-wise, it will be a very good way for you to have more informed decisions of which is the internship you want to secure, or what are the job prospects that you want to move into in the future after you have graduated. So this is our upcoming program. I think most of you will be most keen in this project. So this is our upcoming ISE FOP program. So this program will be held in 20th to 22nd June this year. Personally, I feel that this is a very important program to participate in. So that time, I was also, last year at the same timing, I was also here watching this FOP, and I was also thinking, should I join this? Because I may have other commitments or even internships throughout the period. But I was very certain that I made the correct decision to join this FOP, because after joining this FOP, I get to know more course-mates and also seniors, which definitely allow me to gain more notes. So I will be able to have a pre-understanding of many course material before entering university. So this is our team. You have Denzel, Joey, Jareth, and Kaiser. Do follow our Instagram for more updates. So what can you expect for this FOP program? First, we have many games set aside for you guys already, and through this process, you'll be able to forge new friendships as you'll be split into individuals, OG, and this is a time in which you get closer to your coursemate. You may feel that, oh, I could interact with them through the different, for example, course or module, but however, I feel that throughout my whole university journey, FOP-wise is a chance that I made more long-lasting friendship throughout the way. And it's also a time that I got to learn more about ISE Club, and that's why I joined ISE Club. Yeah, so see you soon for FOP, and these are some of our social media links. Shout out to our NUS ISE and also our BACC account. So thank you very much, and hope to see you in ISE or ISE Club.
Okay, thank you, Phyllis. So fast finish your presentation. Okay, so while our next presenter is getting ready, so you have been sitting for quite a while now. So I thought that maybe this is a good time to ask you guys who have been sitting very quietly. Are there any questions? We take a couple of minutes, can take questions and answers. Any questions that you would like to ask the speakers and the presentation so far? So you're leaving soon, sir? You want to stay back for the refreshment? Okay. Thank you. Right, so, okay, that's it. Nobody can leave now, huh? Yeah, we'll lock the doors. Let out the dogs, lock the doors. Okay, right, so, any questions? Q&A, take a short Q&A. Okay, so this is the typical type of situation for even your other senior NUS students. Any questions? No questions. Then after that, everybody hogging the tutors and all that. Yeah, so this is typical, right? Okay, not to worry. So if not, then we'll move on. The next part is actually quite important because we actually try to give you a more concrete flavor about the type of project work that students actually will apply their so-called their knowledge in ISE in. Okay, so we have two senior students as I mentioned at the beginning. Okay, Javari, so he's here today to share with us on his project on this digital twin on semiconductor manufacturing, right? So this is for ST Microelectronics. In fact, wafer fab semiconductor sector has been a very important area, and we have been in Singapore contributing to Singapore's economy immensely. And in the upcoming years, if you will know, there will be a lot more investments coming in this semicon. Okay, and our department has actually been supporting their value chain, their these activities for many decades now. Okay, starting from almost 20 years ago, we started to do a lot of IE work with them. Right. So so I won't take up too much time to do the intro. Javari, right? All yours.
Thanks, Prof. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeffrey. I hope this doesn't sound too much like a lecture and that you're excited by the end of the project, because I was quite excited learning about this and carrying it out. So I hope I don't ramble, but please enjoy. So before I start, I'll just give some background, some context for who we were helping, who our client was. And from there, I think the problems which they are facing become quite apparent quite quickly. And then I'll share some of the contemporary, traditional solutions which they are using today, and why it is no longer sufficient for the problems which are facing in the future, and why digital twins become more important. And then finally, I'll share some of the takeaways to round it up, not just on the technical side, but some of the softer skills you can learn as an engineer. Yeah, so ST is not Singapore Technologies. It's actually a European MNC, and they develop semiconductors. I'm not sure if you know what semiconductors are, but they are the black small chips in circuit boards, if you've ever opened up and seen one before. And their business strategy is to be able to deliver as many chips to as many people so that the technology can benefit everyone on the planet. Yeah. So with such business strategy, that means that they have a lot of product categories where they want to serve and who they want to serve. So these are the three primary ones which they are focusing on. So I think everybody's familiar with wireless charging by now, but I'm not sure if you know that you can now wirelessly charge buses and trains. At home, you can control maybe Bluetooth speaker, your fridge, TV from your phone. But in other countries, you need to be able to control your solar panels. So how do you do that? With smart mobility, we can now know exactly what time our bus is arriving at our bus stop. but what if you need to send drones to disaster-stricken countries or places and get first aid to them as fast as possible? So all these need semiconductors, like microchips inside them, to control, navigate, and all these things. So you can see that the evolution is quite fast and it's expanding. So because of this, there are front end and back end, so the whole value chain has to respond quickly and also in an appropriate manner. So where our project lies is basically in the back end. So we turn little, very delicate chips and enclose them in plastic so that it doesn't like overheat or get affected by very cold temperatures, and you're able to assemble them with other components. So that's where our focus is. And as I said, because they have such a wide product mix, that's only part of the story. So as industrial engineers, you need to see like the whole picture, like what the company faces, not just today, but what they may face tomorrow, right? And actually it's the technology cycles, which is their biggest challenge. What this means is when a new product comes out, maybe everybody can try their own versions of it. So you have many, many different varieties. So like a phone, when it comes out, you have a lot of very innovative new ideas. But after a while, as the technology becomes more mature, when people get used to it, they only want a few of these phones. They only want very standardized products. And then you see the variety shifting, right? You don't really need too much variety. And then what do you do with all the machines which you bought to build these products? So you can't buy too many machines. And then the demand variability, how many of these products you need over time. So ST is in a position where they are no longer able to rely on proven or established methods for manufacturing, and they need something new. And that's where we came in. So, I mean, there's a big picture of what we had to do. But when we were invited to go down to ST's like production floor and really talk to the managers down there and the process engineers, product designers, to see what are their main problems. And these are not new to them. It's just that with the changing technologies, it's become very acute how they feel these problems on a day-to-day basis. And they need new tools to be able to solve them efficiently. And so some of these traditional tools, one of it is called value stream mapping. So it's actually quite idiot-proof. You just take your process flow, how to get your product from A to Z. You lay them out on a paper and you collect certain performance metrics, and then you do some statistical testing. So I mean, that's all fine and good, but if you have 1 billion machines in your production floor, this is going to be too tedious to do. And so what they want to do is create a digital twin. So this basically streamlines the process. What they do is they get the machines to tell you their status, their performance immediately. You don't have to go and collect any more data. There's no reliability issues. And we put this all in a digital format so that we can respond quickly to new data coming in and control the machines from the comfort of your home even. Yeah. But in order to get there, one of the tools which we need to use is simulation. I think Prof has spoken about this. So the first step is just to digitalize everything, and then the next step in ST's future is to automate it so that every machine can talk to us immediately almost. Okay, I won't talk too long. Yeah, so this is one of, if I need to drive home the point, this is how complex the process can get. So like the old methods, if you learn from textbooks, is what you see on the right, on the left. And you have like really tiny boxes which need to collect all these metrics. So the amount of data which you need to consider using VSMs are just way too much. And when you have 1 billion products, you really need a new tool. So what are digital twins? So digital twins, in like the simplest words I can use, is a very boring video game. Okay, so we take what we see in reality and put them into a video game-like scenario with all different types of sensors placed on the machines, so we know critical data points and feedback. If you do this for enough machines across the whole factory floor, you actually get a very nice map of where the products are, what the machines are facing, what problems they are facing, where your manpower is, where they're moving around. And then you can identify where the problems are and then the solutions which will best tackle them. So that's what a digital twin is. And where it's going to is that you can unplug this from the real world. So you just have the digital twin and you make any changes you want in the digital model and go and build a new factory somewhere else. Yeah, so all these are quite technical things, but what we need to do was to present ST a blueprint to go and carry it out for themselves. We're just undergrad students. They didn't expect that from us, a full-scale digital twin. But I think this kind of a blueprint was an interesting experience for them to know where the development problems might arise, even though we don't give a full solution. So like I said, one of the benefits is that they are able to verify where the issues are on the production line and correct them, but also that they have flexibility to scale down the digital twin to only address a small area of the production process and not the whole thing. And this is helpful because if not, the user needs to do a lot of work just to solve a small problem. And so we want it to be as flexible as possible, and that's where the innovation comes about. So what that looks like is we study the whole process flow, and we pick out certain patterns which are repeated throughout the production process. So basically, it's just the day-to-day activities of the worker, of bringing the material to the machine, loading it up, and then running the machine. This is very a simplified diagram, but what we do is we tease out all the interactions between the man, method, materials, and machines. By doing this, we have a comprehensive unit, and we can digitize it in this way. So we use the software called AnyLogic. You can actually download it for free, if I'm not wrong. With this digital environment, you can basically turn things off and on, change parameters in a small, single block for maybe just one process. And the beauty of it is you can connect all these blocks into a full process chain. So you can see on the right again, all the little colorful boxes at the top are different processes and their performance. And you can change the layout based on how the factory floor looks like. And then while this is running in the simulation environment, you can pick up any sort of metric which you can possibly quantify. For now, a lot of it is theoretical, so it's just the statistics which we collect. But with sensors in the real world, we're able to collect this data real time. And that's where SD wants to go into. And lastly, we're building all this as much as you can be technically gifted. You still need to express it in words. So you can see at the bottom, to explain to the user what this model is actually doing and how it runs. So I think this is actually one of the most important things of the whole model, so that we're not over-promising what the model can do. So I'll demonstrate it right now in a video. I can't play the software. Okay, so this is just it starting up. Right, so what you can see on top, so what you can see on top is the data being collected. Things in green means everything is going well. Things in red means there's something going wrong. The machines are being overutilized. You can see the manpower allocation and where the queues are in the process, right? So where is product getting stuck because of some production floor issues. We can map it out on a 3D model. It doesn't look very sophisticated now, but that's because we don't have a floor plan which we want to follow. It's meant to be as flexible to the user as possible. And then obviously you have all the graphs. You can do different statistical training and testing for everything on the process flow. And then lastly, it's the assumptions in the model. So to track basically how the model runs and to be able to communicate your ideas effectively. Yeah, so this is the same thing which you saw earlier. This is how it runs for any production process. Okay, yep. So yeah. The key takeaways for us, besides the technical skills which we draw, is that the curricula you learn in school will never be enough. When you go into the SDP program, a lot of the stuff you learn is fractured, is all over the place. But until you can apply some of them, then everything makes a lot more sense, and you realize you can actually become quite excited about boring things like manufacturing and simulation and project management. There's a lot more which you will want to dive into, so that you can make future improvements to the project. Yep. My team is not here today, but these are some of their key takeaways, so I can't speak on their behalf. But for me, as a project lead, my key role was just negotiating the right requirements with ST to make sure that I can deliver it on time with the skill sets of my team and make sure that they are growing at the right place. So this is something no textbook can teach you. There's no magic formula unless you go and try it out for yourself. So I wish you all the best in your journey in ISE and have a good SDP. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Javari, for sharing his project. I think it's certainly quite impressive, and the stakeholders are, of course, very happy with the outcome. But at the same time, the students also learn a lot from these collaborator companies. In fact, this Semicon is one of the most forward-looking and advanced in terms of our ISE discipline. I remember many years ago when I just graduated with a ISE PhD degree, I went to interview at one of these leading wafer fabs, thinking that I'm very special, okay, with ISE degree. And then the guy just looked at me and said, we have a whole army of ISE PhD here, so you're nothing special. So, I mean, that's just 20 years ago, okay? So anyway, just to share with you guys, for the SDP, we have actually a broad variety of projects coming from different areas, not just in semicon or production, right? So the next project is actually one of the more unique ones. That's why we got our next presenter here to share with us. So as you know, we are also going to launch our new area of specialization in sustainability. Climate change is coming down, imposing a lot of pressure from the top down, okay, with Singapore's commitment to achieve net zero by 2050. Okay, banks and financial sectors, they are facing a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of room in which ISE can contribute to. Okay, so Chang Yu, right, will share his project on the net zero emissions using machine learning.
Hi everyone. So today I'll be sharing on my group's SDP project, which is a research study on net zero emissions estimation using machine learning techniques. So why did we choose this topic? Climate change is a very prevalent issue in today's world, and I'm sure most of us know that the emission of greenhouse gases is the main contributing factor to this global phenomenon. And nowadays throughout the globe, there has been increasing efforts to reduce the reliance on traditional sources of energy like oil, natural gas, and coal, and to increase the supply of renewable energy. Hence, my group dived in to find out whether, as a result of increased efforts to shift towards a green economy, whether the greenhouse gas emissions from traditional sources of energy has actually decreased in recent years. On the graph on the left-hand side, however, you can see that from year 2015 to 2022, the carbon dioxide emissions by fuel type, coal, natural gas, and oil have actually experienced positive changes throughout most of the years, which means that current efforts to reduce the reliance on traditional sources have actually yet to make a dent in the amount of emissions being generated. The graph on the right shows projections in oil demand from year 2021 to 2040 by the International Energy Agency. And if you focus on the green area, which represents a net zero emissions by 2050 scenario, it shows that for the world to transition towards net zero emissions, the oil demand actually has to fall to below 50% of 2021 consumption levels. And hence, initiatives like the Net Zero Bank Alliance was set up by the UN Financial Initiative in 2021, which accounts for 40% of all banking assets. So why does this matter? Many oil and gas companies have financial backing from banks. And when banks invest in these companies, they are essentially financing the very activities that result in the emissions of vast amount of greenhouse gases. Hence, agreements as such require banks to calculate their finance emissions by essentially accounting for the proportion of emissions that they are financing for each of the clients in their financial portfolio. Then the banks are required to perform portfolio alignment periodically, whereby they take their total amount of finance emissions and to compare that with targeted finance emissions, which are predetermined for each bank to eventually transition towards net zero emissions by year 2050. So should there be any disparity between the target values and the current values, banks are then required to perform target setting, in which they optimize their client portfolio and maybe shift and redirect funds towards companies that have a higher emphasis on producing more renewable energy. This gives increased support for companies that are aiding the transition towards a greener economy and less support for companies who are more resistant towards this change. So it is then of utmost importance that banks have reliable and accurate sources as to the emissions that their clients are emitting. Because with accurate emissions, they can then accurately calculate their finance emissions and then perform portfolio optimization more accurately as well. This is more important for the oil and gas sector as well, because many banks are heavily invested in the oil and gas sector. Using Standard Chartered Bank as an example, in 2021, Standard Chartered Bank had financed emissions of 13.7 million metric tons of carbon dioxide in the oil and gas industry, which forms 30% of its total finance emissions. Hence, by having accurate emissions for the oil and gas industry, Standard Chartered Bank is able to make more informed decisions when they perform portfolio optimization. Now let's talk about how we can obtain these emission figures and why do we need to estimate emissions. So we can obtain emissions by looking at the sustainability reports that companies release every year. But then why do we need to estimate them? This is because not all companies release their emission levels. In the case for Standard Chartered Bank, 39% of their clients actually don't release their emission levels, and hence banks are then resorting to estimation methods to really estimate the levels of emissions that these companies produce, and then from there they can then calculate their proportion of finance emissions. Standard Chartered Bank currently uses linear regression to estimate the emissions of their clients, and they utilize revenue as an estimating variable. The problem comes in when we realize that revenue is not a very good estimating variable because it's an economic variable, and hence, due to fluctuations in things like oil prices, it can really affect the reliability of the estimation of emissions from their clients. Our group, through research, then realized that using physical activity variables such as maybe the amount of energy consumed by the companies is able to give a more accurate estimation because it is a better representation of the operational intensity of the companies. We also took further inspiration from research study by Goldman and Bloomberg, whereby they found success in including different types of variables like headcount, total assets, and more in predicting the emissions of companies. They also found additional success in using more complex machine learning algorithms, and hence we kickstarted off our study by first identifying several financial predictive variables like total assets, market cap, and capital expenditure, as well as certain non-financial predictive variables like operational variables including headcount, energy consumption, categorical variables including the region that the company is in, as well as the subsector within the oil and gas industry that the company falls under as well. We also included other variables like ESG risk rating, which gives an indication as to the efforts that companies make towards making their operations more green and to be more reliant on renewable energy. We then collected data manually from 60 different companies in 5 different subsectors within the oil and gas industry. After which we performed several statistical tests to assess on the suitability for the variables that we have identified to be fed into the machine learning algorithms that we intend to. Should they be deemed to be unsuitable to be fed into the algorithms, we will then remove them. So at the end, we arrived at our final data set containing the variables which are revenue, market cap, capital expenditure, headcount, energy consumption, region, and subsector. We then derived with 3 different regression models to perform regression on and compare their performance. Firstly, we have the revenue-based model, which is the one that Standard Chartered Bank currently uses, and we use that as a benchmark, as a point of comparison for our subsequent 2 models. We have linear regression using recursive feature elimination to return a subset of all the features that maximizes the predictive accuracy of the machine learning model. And we also have a more complex machine learning model, which is called extreme gradient boosting, which builds upon the concepts of decision trees. To assess our model performance, we then use performance indicators such as root mean square error and adjusted test R squared. And don't worry if you don't really know what these mean. Essentially, a lower root mean square error means that the model has a higher predictive accuracy, and a higher adjusted test R squared means that the model is more representative of the data. So what are the results that we obtained? The table on the top left summarizes the results of the 3 models that we have explored. And as you can see, the linear regression model using recursive feature elimination resulted in the best performance with a root mean square error of 9.36 and an adjusted test R squared of about 0.7. So these are 37% and 31% improvements upon the revenue-based model that Standard Chartered Bank currently uses. And as you can see, the recursive feature elimination algorithm resulted in revenue, energy consumption, region, and subsectors being the variables that are selected that resulted in the best predictive accuracies. This tells us that using a combination of activity-based, economic-based variables as well as certain categorical variables results in the best predictive accuracy. However, this selection of variables may just be pertaining to our dataset, and hence we performed a few more statistical tests to determine if any other variables can be deemed to be important for banks to explore in general. And we realized that headcount is also an important feature that banks can consider should they explore estimating their non-reporting clients using machine learning. So hence, we will recommend any bank to utilize linear regression as their machine learning model to estimate emissions and to also explore features like revenue, energy consumption, headcount, region, as well as subsector. Some potential next steps that banks can take from our project is to actually implement and explore these recommended variables with their own set of clients to assess how accurate the prediction methods are with their own portfolio. And secondly, they can also extend the study to other sectors like the power sector or the metals and mining sector, as these are sectors that banks are also generally heavily invested in. So should they be successful in extending the project to multiple sectors, they can improve the overall accuracy of their finance emissions reporting. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chang-Yu, for sharing his project. So I hope his presentation can give you a flavor about how this ISE discipline actually can add important value in this space of sustainability and climate change. Okay, so not just making slogans and like Greta Thunberg and all that kind of things, but we actually contribute real value to industry and the country towards this net zero transition. Okay, so that's our senior student project sharing. Right, we've pretty much come to the end of the presentation parts of the agenda today. So we're supposed to have the Q&A. Once again, I open the floor to you guys. If you have any questions at all that you want to seek clarification from. Especially now we have this Professor Tan Chin Hon over here.
Okay, I've done this quite a few times, so I can ask the first question. Okay, so the question that I frequently get is that how do I know if I'm suitable to do ISE, or should I jump ship and go somewhere else? I think the first thing is you got to be comfortable with numbers. Okay, I think that's a bare minimum over there. How, as you would have observed, how we tackle problems, how we analyze problems is that we are going to look at the data. We want to analyze it in a very analytical way. Okay, how decisions should be made at the boardroom. It shouldn't be the person who bangs the table or shouts the loudest. Okay, it should be based on data, based on hard analysis. This is where you got to recognize that there's a lot of things that we cannot fully analyze. Okay, every time we want to do an analysis, there's a cost aspect to it. I want to collect data, that requires manpower, that requires cost. I want somebody to analyze it, that requires cost as well. So I'm not saying that we need to have a complete analysis before we make a decision. There's a balance to be made. Okay, but I think that what you need is that you shouldn't be somebody who thinks that we should just go with a gut feeling. Okay, that you like numbers, you like to be able to analyze before we make a intelligent type of decision over there. I think that's a requirement. The other one, which I think it's important, is that you should be comfortable working with people. Okay, no one person will have all the skill sets that are going to be required. As an industrial engineer, we have the foundation in the math, in the programming, we have the skills over there, but I come up with, let's say, a prototype. I'm not going to be the one who write the whole software for the company. After the prototype is done, basically we hand it over to the IT department. I'm moving on to the next project over there. My job is to show that this is a proof of concept, this is valuable to you. I will communicate with the IT department what needs to be done. We move on. So I think everybody needs to know what their skill sets are. And at the same time, and because of this, you will have to work with the different departments to analyze the problem. I think some students will have experienced it. You talk to the management. Management will think that this is the problem. You talk to the people on the ground. They will say that this other thing is the other problem. You need the people skills to talk to people to get the information. You need to have the critical thinking skill to figure out who is right, who is wrong. Or perhaps they are all looking at just a different portion of that problem over there. That is your job, to put everything together to solve that problem. Okay, and so being comfortable with numbers, being able to work with people, I think these are kind of the things that are required to be a good industrial and systems engineer. Okay, any questions? Sure, I planted my student to ask a question, yeah. Sure, thanks.
Like, what I heard a lot of questions like from last time is that is it very like coding heavy like for our course currently, or is there like a path for us that if let's say we're not really interested in like coding stuff? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thanks Daryl for the question. So the question is that is it very coding heavy, yeah? And then is there a path for for those who don't like coding? So I will say that our curriculum at this point in time, there are going to be 2 compulsory programming modules. Okay, there's one which is the introductory to programming, and the other one that builds on it is going to be on data structures. How do you manipulate data and how do you store data and so on. Okay, so there's no getting around it. You got to clear this 2 as part of your degree requirements over there. So let me put things in context. So once again, it goes back to this idea that you need to have a wide set of tools over there. I've talked about optimization. So where the very traditional approach is we use mathematical equations to model our problem, and then from there we solve it over there. Okay, but there are some problems that are too complicated to model using math equations. That's where programming comes in. Because then that's where you can get a computer to run through millions of solutions, right? That's where I don't care about modeling it already. I just program it, I get a computer to run through millions of solutions and tell me which is the best one. So, like it or not, programming is going to be helpful in terms of solving some problems over there. So, there will be some programming that's required. And so that's why I think that those are the 2 modules over there. But like I say, I think we are not a computer science department. Okay, so there's going to be, we're not going to be expecting you to build a full-fledged software that takes care of privacy, that takes care of security, and so on. Okay, but I think that you need to at least have some skills over there. But at the same time, we do try our best to see how we can always continuously improve the program as well, where we take the feedback. Okay, so yeah, so to add to that, you cannot be adverse at least to programming. You got at least to be open to it. Thanks, Daryl, for the question. Any other questions? Sure, go ahead. Okay, so besides programming, right? In programming these days, we use Python, but then at the same time, we are asking about what are the other software, right? So one software that is going to be used a lot is going to be Excel. And the reason for this is because go out to any company out there, they are going to have Excel. Okay, and so I don't want to teach you a very specialized software that you can do fanciful things, but then once you go out into the industry, you don't have that software. And you tell a manager, can you give me a budget of $50,000 to buy a license for 1 year? That's going to be very difficult, right? If you can do it with Excel, that is going to be the best because the company has that. So Excel is going to be there. Obviously, you have Python, and then I guess you can call out all the libraries and so on. For individual modules, they would actually have their individual type of different type of software as well. So I do not know the whole list of software that my colleagues use, but off the top of my head, I would say Python, I would say Excel. And in terms of simulation, these days you are using FlexSim. Okay, so we have a simulation software that is called FlexSim, so that will be one that's going to be used as well. Thanks for that question. Any other questions? Oh, sure, please, go ahead. You mean the breakdown, how many percent projects, how many percent exams, and so on, right? So it depends on the module itself. So broadly speaking, these days, we don't have, I don't think we have modules that are fully exam. There's going to be homework, assignment, there's going to be continuous assessment, and then also exam over there. But we do have some modules that are fully projects. For example, your system design project. So that will be a completely project module. So a lot of modules that are going to have, let's say, a project component. For example, our introduction to industrial and systems engineering, I think both for EPP1 and EPP2, there will be, let's say, a quiz component. There will also be a project component over there. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. Yeah. In year one, I don't know. Maybe the students would be the best. Do you think in year one you have more projects or more exams? Half-half. Okay. And in NUS mod, we can actually see, right, the sort of like the project work and so on. Yeah. So one way is that we have this website called NUS Mods, where you can find out all our programs, and it also lists sort of like how many modular credits, how many % of time you're supposed to spend on lecture, project work, and so on. So most of the information are there. But of course, if you cannot, then you can direct to the ISE club, or you can also just direct to our department, and then we can answer that. Okay, cool, thanks. Sure, please, go ahead.
The bachelor you finish at ISE.
Yes.
The masters, what are the course eligible for? Those completed ISE course.
Uh-huh.
The masters, what are the course eligible?
Oh, okay, so after they've completed the Bachelor of Engineering, Industrial or Systems Engineering, you're talking about what are the master's program they can embark on. Master's program, can I deflect to my head of department? So all 4 of our masters they can apply for?
I think as I showed just now, we have 4 master's programs running in the department. Masters of Industrial Systems Engineering, that overlaps quite a bit with the BEng program. We have one more specialized one in supply chain management, and that's co-hosted with the business school and the Statistics Institute. We have one that's in management of technology and innovation, and then another one in maritime technology and management. So we have 4. Actually, our students are eligible to do any of the 4.
Thanks, Prof. Ng. And probably just to add on to that as well, which is that a lot of our students, after they graduate, they would actually find, let's say, a job in a particular industry, and then they may work 1 or 2 years, and then they will decide if this is an industry that they like, then they have a better idea as to what masters they want to do. So very often they may choose to do a master's, let's say, in a different industry. So for example, I had a classmate, after he graduated, I think he worked about 2 years, then he moved on to do a master's in financial engineering. Yeah, so I think that very often the master's would be a good step to sort of like, let's say move to a different industry and so on. Yeah, thanks for that question. Yeah, yeah, please. Yes, yes.
What percentage of that accomplishes what percentage of each year's cohort?
Okay, yeah, thanks for that question. And Stephen, so how many?
Usually about 45% of our students will be embarked on journey from exchange programs.
Okay, yeah. So we've seen from our past data is about 45% of our students will go for a student exchange program. So close to half.
Based on the vacancy, also depending on the partner university, how much the vacancy can be offered, whether university-wide or
So 45% is those who actually go. Yeah, so 45% will be those who actually go. So what happens is that there will be the vacancies over there, and then our students can go and apply for them. So what happens is that some countries are going to be more popular compared to other countries over there. And so maybe not all the vacancies are taken, right?
Usually US is very competitive.
Yeah.
But if you like to apply for the European countries, that will be more easier to do.
Yeah, so the sense is US is competitive. There are more opportunities in Europe, and actually Asia has a lot of opportunities as well. I do visit a lot of universities in Southeast Asia. I think a lot of people want to do exchange with us. The problem is that for exchange program, they send one student over, we got to send one student over there. The thing is that I think many of our students are not interested in Southeast Asia. So yeah, we get a lot of demand as well. So, but you know, it's a, so 45% is those who actually go. I think a lot more people want to work with us. But I guess everyone has their preference, right? So I hope that answers your question. Thanks. Yeah, please. Yes. Specialization. Yes. Okay, yes. So the specializations, the two that we have at this point in time, it's going to be supply chain analytics. And so what it means, this is where we have topics that are in the area of supply chain and also manufacturing. It's going to be relevant. So that is going to be very good to prepare people who wants to go into, let's say, who wants to manage a facility or who wants to look at supply chain issues over there. So the other area of specialization is going to be in the area of decision intelligence. So this is where we will have modules in terms of machine learning, where you're able to do predictive analytics, descriptive analytics, and at the same time, decision modeling as well. So it's not, so I mentioned, right, our Shopee example, where we predict what the demand is going to be. But everybody knows that all predictions are always going to be wrong. My model will predict that the demand is 182. In actual fact, the demand is going to be 185. Okay, and so it's not just a matter of coming up with a predicted demand, but at the same time, you need to balance your risk as well. What is the risk of under-ordering? What is the risk of over-ordering? Okay, and so collectively, all these are going to come under the decision modeling combined with your machine learning over there. So that's going to be the second area of specialization. The third area of specialization that I say we are still pending MOE approval is going to be in our sustainability analytics. That's where we are going to be exposed to a lot of these sort of like decarbonization concepts and type of terms and sort of like policies that are being used over there. Yeah, and so for all these specializations, essentially, you will have to do a final year project and at the same time take 3 modules within this area of specialization to qualify for it. Yes? So it's only going to be compulsory for those who do the specialization. Yeah. Thanks. So, but on that point, I will say that the final year project can also be taken by students who are not doing a specialization. So a final year project can also be used to replace the 2 technical electives that you are supposed to do. Because the final year project essentially is a 4,000 level module and it is 8 units. So that's considered as 2 technical electives. Thanks for the question. Okay, final call. I do realize that we are running late, so I do apologize for that. But if not, I guess we are going to be around, and so we'll be happy to just take any questions outside. Final call, any other questions? If not, let me hand it back over to Chuha or Adam. Adam. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So I think that's pretty much the end of our this presentation session. Okay. So I hope that you all have gained more understanding about our program, and I hope that you all have a good appetite now because the food is ready outside. So do join us in some so-called further discussion about the program. Thank you very much, everybody, for spending the Saturday here today, and thank you for all the presenters. Okay. Thanks. See you soon.